you can get a chance also to ask your questions, trying to be a bit creative and not repeat the questions I ask you. If you want to leave your microphones on the speaker, we can get going. So Wesley, first of all, thanks a lot for coming.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone, especially people who made possible. I'm very pleased to be here in India. It's such a magnificent tournament. I mean, I'd like to thank the Indian government, of course, for saving the Olympiad, basically. And so far, so good. The people here are lovely and wonderful, and the food is great. I came here from a tournament in Croatia, and I wasn't feeling very well the first few days, but I'm feeling much better now. I'm getting used to the weather.
Okay, so we'll talk about the game in a minute.
Sure.
But before we talk about the game, you were telling me before that it's obviously not your first time in India. You were here a few months ago playing the Tata Steel tournament.
No, I was here 3 years ago.
3 years ago, sorry.
Yeah.
Playing the Tata Steel tournament.
Yeah, I'm going to come back this November.
Okay.
So I mean, of course, it's lovely. I mean, it's such a long trip. It's like a 35-hour journey. We were planning to come last year, but we weren't able to do it. But this year, for sure, I'll definitely be playing in Kolkata once again.
Okay, well, you're originally from the Philippines, so I suppose the heat here is not something that affects you too much?
Yeah, that's true. India is still a bit warmer.
Still a bit warmer?
It's still a bit warmer. I think, what is it right now, like 38?
Yeah, the humidity makes it even hotter, no?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in Cavite, which is a province, so it's a bit colder than Manila.
Okay, so let's talk about the tournament. You're representing the United States. Your team is the strongest of the roster. Also today, Fabiano Caruana wasn't playing. How do you rate your chances for this tournament?
Well, objectively on paper, we have very good chances, but I understand that rating doesn't mean that much. You lose one game, you lose one match, that can be the deciding factor of the tournament. Like, when we won gold in Baku, we had to score 20 points, or basically 10 points out of 11, which is a very hard thing to do. So we have to stay very focused, we have to stay very calm, take it one game at a time, and try to avoid accidents. Of course, this year is a good year to try to win it, because some of the best teams are not here. Russia, China's not here, Ukraine's not sending its best players, France also not sending its best players. Some other top GMs are not here. But at the same time, India has 3 teams. So, and India has a lot of strong players, up and coming. So you have Eric Arjun, you have Gukesh. I think Gukesh recently reached 2,700. And you have Vidit, of course. You have also Hare Krishna. So it's a very strong team, and there's 3 of them. So you have to watch out. But in any case, I was looking at the players today, and everyone has to be careful.
Okay. So you've talked about the 3 Indian teams, especially a team 1 and team 2.
Yeah.
Which other teams do you think could be dark horses here, who could really present a threat to the American chances to win the medal?
Well, I would say that the favorites are US and maybe India 1.
Okay.
And possibly in Norway, if Magnus plays well. And then I guess the dark horses to win this tournament are those with a very solid, very strong lineup, like Germany, England, Spain, possibly Ukraine, even though they didn't send their strongest players, and the Netherlands also very good.
Okay. So let's talk about the game today. USA were fielded against Angola, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Angola.
You played a 2,200 strong club player. How did the game go?
It went well. I think he surprised me in the opening. And if you saw the game when he played Bishop A6, I think I'm supposed to take on A6 first. But in the game I didn't, so he took on D3, and I allowed this queen to A6. And I traded to a slightly better endgame. But my opponent misplayed it, I think C5 also. And then his d-pawn proved to be very vulnerable at the end. And he just got too many weaknesses with 3-pawn islands against 2. I was able to convert. And I think Linear also won very smoothly with the black pieces, putting a lot of pressure on his opponent's time. And Sam Shankland also has like winning position, I think, in an endgame where Black's life for Bishop is like a pawn. But I think Levon has some problems right now because he sacrificed an exchange in the opening. I think he had a very good position before that, but after he sacrificed the exchange, it wasn't very clear at all. And his opponent, his name is Silva. What? Albert something? Oh no, Nick Silva. I forgot his first name. But his opponent's playing very well. So you might have.
So,
And when I left the game, he was just down an exchange.
so we'll wait to see what happens in that game.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that some of the journalists would like to address a question. Remember to say your name and the media outlet.
Yeah,
I'm sure Wesley will be happy to answer your questions.
Hi Wesley,
Hi.
Saravan from chess.com.
Chess.com.
You said you like the organization of this Olympiad very much.
Yeah.
Which is the most impressive aspect of the organization for you here in Chennai?
Well, there are several things, but I think having all the volunteers here, all the staff, all the people working for the event makes it just wonderful. I think just looking at the first day, I think this is one of the better Olympiads that I've been to, possibly one of the best. And it's just lovely. When we arrived at the airport, there was a lot of volunteers there, willing to do anything that you need them to do. I heard there are 400 volunteers that came all over the country. So I would say that. Also, I'm very impressed by the organization because India had very little time to prepare. But so far, everything's wonderful. We have one of the best hotels in the Olympiad that we've been to. We stay in a resort right by Bengal Bay. And we have really good food. The internet's not the best, but we're working on it. And it's very close to the playing hall, it's only 8 minutes. And we have 3 buffet meals a day, which can't really argue.
Hi, Wesley. Yeah. Hi, Wesley. Current US team, it's a true melting pot with a Spaniard, Armenian, and a Filipino. How do you look at this diversity in that, and also the popularity of chess in US compared to NBA and NFL?
Well, as they say, thank you. USA is a land of immigrants. So basically, everybody in the US came from somewhere at some point. So right now, chess in the US is very good, mostly thanks to the St. Louis Chess Club, Rex and Jeannie Singfield. It's really based on private sponsors who enjoy the game. Without them, chess wouldn't nearly have its boost in popularity as it has right now. So personally, for me, switching to the United States is the best decision I did in my life. I got a lot more support, I got a lot more training, I got a lot more sparring partners and tournaments. And also, I don't have to travel that far to play in strong tournaments. I think for Levon too, it's also a very good decision to switch, considering the politics that are happening in Armenia. So maybe it's maybe for him was also the right decision. And also for Lenier Dominguez, I think he was already living in Miami, and then later on he moved to St. Louis. So it made perfect sense. Yeah, generally, people have the right to live where they want to. I think there are many other nations also who are trying to recruit players. Like Romania recruited Richard Laporte recently, and also Spain got some new players. Also Russia got Karyakin several years ago. So I think it's normal. It's an interesting part of chess. Because if you're a chess professional, it's very important to be in the right place at the right time.
Wesley, hi. Prasad from Times of India. Wesley, Fabiano didn't play the first round, and is the fact that you are saving him more for the tougher rounds ahead? Is that how it works? And I mean, would you be making the shifts as the rounds get tougher and tougher as you progress? Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, Fabiano's here in the hotel. Basically, we don't really have any big plan, but we just do everything by rating. So Fabiano's always been the highest rated, so he gets to rest the first round. And then after that, we'll see who's in form and who's not. But yeah, it's only the first round. Also this year, we have a lot more teams. So the moment when the best teams face each other will be somewhere in the middle.
Okay, so we'll have a last question here in the second row, and we'll
Hi.
bring the conference to a close.
Vivek from Hindustan Times. Hi Wesley.
Hi.
Wanted to ask you about basically the importance of infrastructure and support that countries play. Is it possible for players from, say, the so-called lesser countries to make the step up and do well, or is it still very difficult? You spoke about how switching nationalities was the best decision you made. Since there are so many countries at the Olympiad, is there still a big divide between the top countries and the lesser countries? And how important is the support that, say, a federation or a country plays in the growth of a player?
Well, I think the grassroots is very important. So when you're young and you're starting, it's important to have coaches, to have regular weekly tournaments, weekend tournaments, to have books, sparring partners. But I think what India is doing is very good at the moment. You got a lot of young kids, you got a lot of prodigies who are willing to give their time on chess. You have a lot of great coaches here in India. So yeah, I think India can be one of the role models. But when you're a grandmaster, when you're trying to get to the next level, let's say you're 2600, 2650, or if you're top 50 in the world, top 100, being on the right federation at the right time also, it's very important because your strength could stagnate for a while.
Okay, so thank you all for coming. Thanks for the coverage, Wesley. Thank you for coming,
Yeah,
and good luck in the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, I'd like to just say thank you to everyone for hosting the Olympiad. Also, a big shout out to my good friend Vishy Anand to make sure that everybody is happy here.